Welcome to the Wolves and Sheep podcast. I'm Roberta Glass, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Bill Cosby retrial after having taken 1.5 tabs of Benadryl. So just as I go to record this, a woman strips off her shirt at the Bill Cosby, first day of the Bill Cosby retrial, and storms, I guess, towards the courthouse. That's not an empowering act to take off your shirt and bare your breasts. I don't care what's written on it. Women, if you want to be taken seriously, keep your clothes on. That's my message to you. You look like a maniac. Nobody's going to take you seriously, okay? And you're not doing women any favors, please. I can't believe I've become such an old fuddy-duddy in my old age, but I guess I have. So, Bill Cosby is on a retrial for the sexual assault of Andrea Constand. And I could only find 66 pages of this deposition. I hear there are 1,000 pages, and after scouring the internet all weekend for the complete 1,000-page deposition, I just went ahead and made this. As you can see, the reason I have taken 1.5 tabs of Benadryl is because that is what Bill Cosby has said in deposition he gave Andrea Constand that made her totally pass out and lose control of her body and not be able to fight him off fight off his sexual assault of her. So, to begin with, who is Andrea Constand? Constand was the director of operations for the Temple University basketball team in 2002 when she began a friendship with Bill Cosby that both of them describe as a kind of mentor-mentee friendship. And Bill Cosby invited her over to his house and asked her about, kind of like life planning with her, and said, you look stressed out. Here, take these. They're herbal. Now, that's like the first part of this, which is he's Benadryl, whatever you want to say, it's over the counter, but it's not an herbal remedy. So he's already misidentifying the pills to her. He gives them to her, and she is sexually assaulted and leaves in quite a confused state. But after this, keeps in contact with him as she has to. One, it's part of her job. But two, you have to understand that this was a friendship with a famous person. And they hold a lot of weight. There's a great documentary about Yoko Ono and John Lennon and the making of Albert Goldman's book about John Lennon. And one music journalist says, nobody ever wants to say anything bad about these famous people because their friendship with these famous people is like their calling card. Now, it may not have been Andrea Constand's calling card, but at the time, Bill Cosby was one of the most powerful entertainers in the world. He could do a lot for her. I think if you don't have a father figure, that can be a very powerful lure. And you don't want to believe that someone's capable of that. So it took her a year to report it. She seems confused. At one time she said it was 1 month. Another time she said it happened in another month. So there are, inconsistencies to her story. Now, the difference between this trial and the trial that ended up in a hung jury was that they are now allowing in 5 victims of Bill Cosby. Now, the question is 5 victims going to be enough up against one powerful, rich, famous man? Now, it's really funny to me that every time Bill Cosby comes to trial, he's like being led in, and every time he shows up, he seems to get blinder and blinder. They tried to get the the case originally thrown out because he was too blind to aid in his own defense. His defense attorney said he could not identify the victims, and he just would be no help in his own trial. And the judge, thank heavens, wasn't buying that. But we still, even with a jury brought in from another county, ended up in a deadlock. And one juror said that he thought that what indicated to him that it was consensual was that she asked for an apology, and Bill Cosby gave her an apology. She asked for another one. Bill Cosby gave her an apology. And she wore a midriff-bearing shirt. Again, women, cover up. This is why you cover up for stupid men like this, okay? That was consensual. That indicated, please drug me and rape me to him. Just, I don't know. That's, I guess, an unspoken rule. If you wear a stomach-bearing shirt, that means please misidentify some pills, throw them in my drink, and sexually assault me, apparently, and I'll love it. And also, she gave him bath salts, and that was like, a real big signal. This stupid juror should have been thrown off. I hate to call people stupid, but that reasoning, you gotta say, is not like a high IQ reasoning. And this is like the same kind of guy where you would compliment his tie in an elevator, and he would think that would mean, please put your penis in my vagina. That would be like the message that guy would get when you would compliment his tie. It's like so incredibly dumb. And it breaks my heart when I read that a jury is deadlocked on such a stupid freaking thing and such a misunderstanding about what consent is. And I just want to clear up, make something really clear right now. It has a woman's attitude after a rape does not negate the crime. So let's say if she sends a thank you letter and flowers, thank you for raping me, I really enjoyed it, it was great, it's still a crime if she didn't give her consent. Let's make it even clearer. If you are robbed and you decide that being robbed is the greatest thing you've ever experienced, you're like, this new minimal lifestyle is amazing, I love it, I am going to write those robbers a note. Not sure where they are, I'll just put it in the paper. Dear robbers, thank you. That getting robbed was awesome. Does it make the robbery any less of a crime? I don't think so. So when it comes to sexual assault, I don't think we really understand what consent means. And it seems like we're basing a whole lot of emphasis on the woman's dress and the woman's attitude. And when I read the Bill Cosby, the comments on these YouTube videos, I kind of lose my mind because it's all about Andrea Constand and how she looks and how she walks like a man and how she's really not pretty enough to have the honor of being sexually assaulted by Bill Cosby. And it's just sort of gives me more of a feeling that women really don't have the rights to our own bodies and to dress the way we want, to present ourselves the way that we want, and that it's some kind of honor to be a victim of a violent crime. So you may say I'm not being very balanced in this video. And as you can see, the Benadryl is having a massive effect on my thinking. I've lost total control of myself, and I'm about to pass out at any minute. Ha, ha, ha. My nose is maybe a little runny, but from it, and I might even be a little bit more hyper than usual from it. Maybe I have an adverse effect, but I don't see how this really was the pill. All these experiences that these women, when you read the Bill Cosby's victims, they all talk about how it happened so quickly. So I often wonder if it's GHB. I've never done Quaalude, so I have no idea how fast that comes on. But, they're talking about Is it just the amount of the drug that he's giving them? But how does a drug come on so quickly? You know? Or is that a distortion in their memory that it happened so quickly from when they drank? So I have no idea. But let's listen to what Bill Cosby says when he addresses these allegations of sexual misconduct and rape.
I'm telling you where the road is out. I'm telling you where, as you're driving, you're going to go into water, and it looks like it might only be 3 inches deep, but you and your car are going to go down. Now, you want to go here, or you want to be concerned about who's giving you the message?
When asked about the...
So I'm confused. So is the woman's not the car, right? He's really talking about the American public, right? And who they're going to listen to. I listened to that answer a couple of times, but what I was looking for was I did not rape these women. I did not sexually assault these women. These women are lying. I did not rape these women. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a car metaphor. I'm not looking for a who do I trust metaphor. I'm just looking for, just a straight out denial. And when people, my experience in life is that when people are telling the truth, they address something directly. Doesn't mean they're always telling the truth. But that's one sign, and this is a sign. Talking around it is a sign where you're avoiding lying because it's stressful. So you're going to kind of talk around the issue and hope the listener will fill in the details. So I guess the question with this retrial, I'm feeling very cynical this week, and I'm feeling like, I guess my mother asked me, well, the Me Too movement, isn't that going to affect it? The Me Too movement? But I haven't heard any real discussion about misogyny or consent, or it's always about like a couple of really bad guys going down and not kind of like the cultural implications or the cultural atmosphere that produces this kind of behavior. So, and if you read Bill Cosby's bits of his deposition, he just hates women. I mean, there was an interesting interview with different psychologists where they asked him if he had a fetish for sleeping women or passed out women. And they were like, no, this is not about sleeping or being passed out because, he could like act out that fetish with someone. This is about being in control. And to me, I'll take it a step further. This is really about woman hating. It's about reducing women to completely remove what he considers their annoying personality or everything that makes them a person, and reduces them to just a body that he can humiliate and use. And that's really dark. So my sympathy with him is, I would say, little to none. And again, it goes back to when you man up to what you do and try to make it right, that's when my sympathy will start to kick in. But as long as you're talking about cars and you're making jokes going into the court and you're saying that you really understand women in a deposition, that was one of the things he said. Well, I know that this was consensual because, I'm a really pretty good arbiter of, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty good at, sussing these things out. I can tell with a woman. And is he a great mind reader? Is that what we're supposed to get from that? It's really, and then he goes on to say that, I never open my mouth and say who I slept with. I find that women always complain about that, but they're the ones that open their big mouth. I mean, he freaking hates women. Come on, Bill Cosby. And I talked to so many people in New York who think he's innocent. And they're like, all these women want money, not having any idea that most of the statute of limitations have long passed for these women. And they're not getting so much as a cup of coffee from Bill Cosby. And how do 50 women all have the same story? But they're not hearing 50 women, they're hearing 5 women. You know? So, I reserve my respect for guys who man up, who help the vulnerable, help the weak, do the right thing. But these kind of guys I could do without. All right? So just be a man.
You're sure enough uptight. You don't have to be a king.
All right. See you next time, guys.